then the next trailer for F1 25 is coming out in just a few minutes' time, and I'm going to be analysing it and getting every little millimetre of detail there is to get out of it. And I've actually got some insider knowledge. They invited me on to a press event just yesterday, so I've got some notes from that on everything there is to know about career mode. And spoilers, there's some big changes there. Let's do it. Okay, there's a blog here. Let's go through the blog before we rewatch the trailer. Engineering, personnel, and corporate. So that's the three main departments of your team management. And it seems right from the brand new menu, right from the sort of main menu of my team, you go into one of those. If you want to do a car upgrade, you go into the engineering menu. I quite like that. You're responsible for recruiting and managing a pair of drivers to represent your team. So that implies you have to drive, but I'm pretty sure you have to pick one and you drive the other car. Because again, that is very much stepping on F1 managers' toes. I know it doesn't exist from 2025 onwards, but still. Manage your facilities. So this is one of the things that's changed quite heavily. Upgrades also changed quite heavily. They're two-tier now, research and building, not just one of them. The engineering facility separates research and development for the first time, just what I said. When developing a part you've spent time researching, you'll need to decide where to focus the team's efforts. So basically, you research the part, really similar to F1 Manager. You research the part, you then have to build it. And you can build one of that part, which will be quite quick, and it'll cost more per part than building two. So obviously, if you only build one, you then have to choose which driver to give that part to. And that does affect upcoming negotiations and stuff. So obviously, if you continue to just give yourself the best parts, and you've got Verstappen alongside you, the odds of Verstappen wanting to re-sign with you at the end of the season, pretty slim. Your team's placement in the Constructors' Championship will impact your resource point income, with your teams at the top of the standings having fewer resource points to propel their R&D efforts, and those at the bottom having more. Wind tunnel time. I suppose so. Yeah, you're right. It's the CFD. It's to simulate the CFD and wind tunnel time. Yeah, you guys are right. But hopefully you do get more money, so it's not just only disadvantaged to grow to go up higher. Component management. Now that side's interesting. They've not really mentioned reliability, because obviously in F1 Manager, your parts wear and you have to then build a new one, potentially of the same part if you haven't got a new one researched. That implies the parts wear, but they haven't mentioned that anywhere else. Cost cap. The official F1 game has never had the cost cap in any way, shape or form, which is crazy to think. F1 Manager's had it since inception. Cost cap is now a thing. So here we go. So this is the workforce page. So obviously you go from here, and obviously if you're not interested in signing drivers, you go into the workforce screen. That takes you to here. So you've got 151. Your max capacity is 387. I guess that's based on lots of factors, including your facilities. You know, if you haven't got a big enough building to employ the staff, you can't employ them. So because of that, my research time is reduced by 16%. And my development time is also reduced by 16%. So it's interesting. It says currently hiring. So I guess you can't just instantly employ up to 387. Aim for X number, and it takes a while for you to find those staff, because you can't just find 200 staff overnight. Customize your team's livery using the new decal editor. More on that update in our next deep dive. And I have heard about this. I can't tell you anything about it, but they've got a new decal editor. Vehicle damage refunds. It might, maybe if you sign a sponsor, one of the agreements is they will pay for your damage or something like that. So you've actually damaged your car 325k, but your sponsor has paid it, so you've got a 325k refund. Triggering upgrades and resolving contract negotiations with drivers earns you XP as a team owner. Now that's an entirely new system. You have owner XP. That's an entirely new system, which can then be used to unlock further training points to tailor your personal management style. Training points is another thing. So you get owner XP, you can then use that XP to train yourself in the engineering department, maybe. So you can then, I would guess you need to be a certain engineering level as a team owner to be able to get certain facility upgrades. That would be my guess as to how that system would work. It makes sense now. So I think you do sign two drivers for your team. You then just race on behalf of one of those drivers. It kind of worked before because you always wanted to beat your teammates. If you've got a dominant car and you've got Max Verstappen, and I'll keep going back to Verstappen, you've got Verstappen as your teammate, you obviously all season you work to beat him. But as you kind of jump in on behalf of Verstappen, that really changes the dynamic. But I guess you don't have to jump in on behalf of Verstappen. You could sign an F2 driver that's nice and cheap and then just drive as them all season. So I guess you've still got the choice, haven't you? But it does feel a bit weird that you could go, well, I need this guy to score no points, so I could just jump in as him and just DNF. So basically your fan rating is popularity, I guess, isn't it? It's accolades and it's rivalries. That I believe that's the only two things I've ever seen mentioned in relation to that, which is kind of strange because results realistically drive fans. But then accolades are linked to results, so it's probably okay, because realistically, once you get 10 race wins. That might be an accolade to get 10 race wins, and then your fan rating gains. So I guess it ends up being similar. As your fan rating progresses, you gain ongoing perks to make your team more effective, unlock the possibility of signing new lucrative title sponsors, and may find it easier to sign more prestigious drivers. Previously, you could only sign the driver icons, which were people like Webber and Schumacher and Massa. You could only sign them yourself. They would never move to another team. But now you've got the option to enable them to be able to be signed by AI teams. So as they highlighted there, Senna could go back to McLaren, or Schumacher could go to Ferrari. Hello! New option that allows you to increase the frequency of driver transfers. Previously, it was just on or off. I like that. Arav will be in love with that. You can now enable and disable individual team icons. So if you didn't want Senna, or whoever the icons are in this game, if you didn't want them in your save, you can just disable them, and then nobody can sign them. Okay, so career, you've got driver career, my team, 2-player, challenge career. Exactly the same. That hasn't really changed at all. Interesting sentiment. They haven't really mentioned sentiment specifically. They mentioned the fan rating, which we know goes up based on accolades and rivalries. The sentiment stuff they haven't really mentioned, so that's interesting. I don't know how that system works. They haven't mentioned that at all in anywhere that I've seen. So this screen's completely different, and I like it. It looks a lot nicer. So obviously, not only have we got the nice fancy background, although I don't know exactly how the visual's going to work. I hope the visuals change as you evolve. You start out in like a little, industrial unit somewhere that's basic as hell. You end up in a flashy facility. It looks a bit like this, hopefully. Testing regulation changes. That's really interesting. What could that mean? I mean, surely if they had their F1 manager style system where the rules change year on year, they'd have mentioned it. Surely. Testing implies it's pre-season testing. But if you look, it's only one day before the Austrian Grand Prix, which is the middle of the season. We're in June as well. So it's probably not an actual on-track test of a car, but they haven't mentioned the regulation change stuff at all. I would be surprised if they've removed that from my team because of the new systems. So the regulations probably do reset your department. So it's probably something to do with that. It's probably something like that would be, I don't know why it's called testing, but that might be the regulation change announcement, and it would show you what your team would look like if you were to not do anything about it. I really hate the t-shirts. They've had this design for a couple of years now. I'm a bit sad with this big overhaul. They haven't just changed the t-shirt design. Sake. It'd be nice if you could like physically walk around the facilities, wouldn't it? That'd be really nice to actually be able to move your character and then go to this room to be able to manage this. That'd be sick. So here's research, which is different to building or developing the part. Now, they may have changed it slightly in terms of, how many upgrades you get when you unlock them, things like that. But fundamentally, this is your R&D tree that we had before. Okay, here's the development tree. This is the new bit. So I guess they can now fail both in research and in development. Now, the 2x here is interesting me. What do you guys think that is? No, they're not making two of them because nothing's in progress. Oh, they've clicked into it. Perfect. They've clicked into it. Front wing flat profile, front wing yada, 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 yada. So you get a little discount on it. I think that's because we're building two at the same time. We get a discount on it. It's going to take 17 days and it's going to be done at the 7th of July, which is 2 races time. So you can see on the bottom here, this is how you select it. You can do single development for 250k or dual development for 450k. So that is the discount you get. I still don't really understand the 2 part. No, so you've still got standard and rushed. So standard speed or rush speed, obviously, which is a lot, I guess, based on facility improvements. Available to build 2 simultaneously based on workforce or facilities. It could be that. Okay, so modify a driver's vehicle. We've got Martins and Otmir. He's got 52 parts equipped. Well, they both got 52 parts equipped. Unequipped parts, 2 remaining. We've got blankets, a tire wear upgrade, and a weight distribution upgrade. Okay, so if you've got 2 of the part, they're on both cars. You don't need to mess about equipping them. They instantly put them on because you've got 2. Why would you there's nothing to choose from. However, if you've only chosen 1, so in this case, we've only got 1 chassis weight redistribution upgrade, we could now go in here and move it to the other car. This is their perception of your team, I would guess, because contract. So they're both pretty happy with contract. I think I find it kind of weird. This comes from the right, this comes from the left, but fine. Driver market. So driver talks is a new tab. Button and Otmir don't like us very much for some reason. In this particular screenshot, they're expecting salary. Wow, look at that. 1.7 million for Otmir and 25 million for Button. And here we go. Driver talks, exactly what I wanted to see. Contract window. So you can only sign them at certain periods during contract windows. So you can talk and talk and talk and talk, and then they'll love you by the end of the talks. But in that meantime, they might sign with somebody else. But you have to have talked to them to be able to sign them, it seems. All right. So drivers' expectations of the team: 275 on workforce. Fan rating of 6, and you want to be vehicle performance 4. So that's what she wants. Achieve 1 podium finish, or the team must pay the driver 1.65 million. Now that's really interesting because that sort of exists in real life, right? Like Verstappen has got a get out clause in his contract, in his Red Bull contract. So if it's probably something like if the team doesn't finish in the top 3 in the constructors, Verstappen can break his contract. It's probably something along those lines, and that exists in real life all the time. So this sounds like sort of a similar system to that, but it's just going to cost you money. This might be salary. Yeah, you're right. Maybe if we offer more, the chance of success would go up. Maybe, I don't know. So that's your target, isn't it? So you've currently got 151. You can do no more than 387. The more you move this along, the more that's what you're targeting. So right now we're targeting 276 people, and they would just hire up to the point of 276 and then they'd stop hiring. That's all that is. So here's the facility upgrade screen. So there's also levels within these. So we're at level 1 of 3 on 3D printing prototype, and level 1 of 2 on real world application group. Okay. Reduce the time it takes to research upgrades by 15% with this upgrade. That'll also increase our work. So every facility upgrade slightly increases your workforce capacity. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So it's not just workforce and stuff and speed of upgrades. You do each upgrade has its own perk effectively. So if you do that, then you get 10 grand every time you do any upgrade. Nice. And there's your finance history. Okay, that's your money. And there's the cost cap, which is finally in the game. You'll love to see it. Decal editor. So they do show the decal editor. Let's see how much they show. So this is the logos that you get to apply to the car. So you can see they're actually designed as logos now, rather than just the generic ass uncolored ones we had previously. So that's on its own makes the car look way better. Using the nude. And look, they're showing most of it. You can literally move it about. So let's see. Move. That has to be size. That has to be rotation. Change decal variants. There's little variants at the bottom here. So basically, Slingshot Fuel have said, here's my logos. You can use any of these on your car. Place them where, how big, and whatever rotation you want. At least according to this screen, you can't change the colors. Because obviously, Slingshot Fuel, their branding isn't green. You can't make it green. That line doesn't exist at the moment. That's different. That's definitely different. Australia's clearly different. That doesn't exist. Suzuka's changed, at least to some extent. That doesn't exist right now. So Suzuka looks like it's changed as well. Still no sprint races in this. Good. Yeah. Cool. Owner training. Here we go. This is the first time we see this screen, so we finally got a new screen. So, top right, we've got 14 available credits. So there's a whole tree for this. Nice. That's awesome. Increase weekly resources of income by 10% if we do the engineering focus upgrade, which it looks like we get from credits. Our current specialization is the jack of all trades. That's our active specialization. We're currently level 3 in it. We've got to spend 3 more to get to level up the jack of all trades specialization. I don't know if these are just the only ones you get or what, but obviously if we were to pick the engineering / corporate, which is a combined one, we'd get $3,000 every day, and the more points we apply with that, we'd get more. So you can choose where you want to specialize yourself. That makes sense. I mean, they keep showing different podium sequences. I assume that means the podium sequences have been updated. Okay, fan rating sentiment, fan bonuses. All right, interesting. The better your team is perceived by fans, the fan rating, the more bonuses you get. Okay, here's the sponsor screen. God, this is, how long are we through this trailer, please? We're only 2 minutes away now, but my God, we've analysed so much. There's so much info to drop, to be fair. Okay, you can also do counter offers. So this isn't just a case of take it or leave it. The 10 I would guess would be the fan ratings. You'd get, for slightly a popular sponsor, your fan rating might go up a little bit. Or is that loyalty? That might be loyalty. This is confirmation. You can turn every driver icon on or off, and then whether they can be recruited, whether all of them you've chosen can be recruited by AI teams, either never, sometimes, or like freely, I would guess would be the options. Yeah, often. There you go. You're clearly setting up a my team here with a custom season of 10 races. I don't think the calendar stuff's changed. I'm not aware that it has, and I think it would have said it if they had. It's probably just the same as before. You have a 10 race season, a 16 race season, or a 24 race season, and you can turn on and off the tracks. You can't reorder them. That's how it works now. I'd be surprised if that's changed. Anyway, yes. So in my team, you can start a my team with my team, or you can start it with Connor Sport or Apex GP. Let me look at my notes, because again, I had a meeting with them yesterday, a press event yesterday. They did tell us that the team HQ does reflect the player choices in terms of scale, population, activity, and branding. Scale, population, activity, that's got to be based on like your workforce. If you've got a small workforce, you're not going to see many people walking about. If you've got a really big workforce, you'll see more people buzzing about, is what I guess that would be. That wasn't really mentioned. So they also told us that each facility has got a head of department, which wasn't shown at all. So I don't know, it wasn't shown under the personnel department, interestingly, but you do have to sign a head of department for your 3 departments. So I don't know anything more about that. But that's the thing that wasn't mentioned today. So you can also unlock title sponsor liveries. So if you sign a certain title sponsor, they might have a custom livery for you that you can then use on your car. But that's only unlockable through signing that title sponsor. So, just to summarize then, the big changes for career mode, but in particular My Team career mode. Obviously, the big one is a complete overhaul of My Team. You're now more the owner than the driver. So you don't sign yourself to drive almost. You're not a permanent driver. You now sign 2 drivers to drive for your team, and you choose per race weekend which driver to take control of, basically. So one weekend you could take control of Hamilton. Next weekend you could take control of Leclerc if you were doing a Ferrari-style My Team. You can also start My Team as one of the other teams. So you can start it as only as Connor Sport or Apex GP. Unfortunately, not as like Ferrari. You can't just start a My Team as Ferrari, which is a shame. And then because you're like the owner, you've got your own owner XP. So you could do things like train yourself to be better at engineering, because there's 3 major departments: engineering, corporate, and personnel. Within those, you can also manage the workforce, which is quite cool. So obviously the more workforce or employees you've got, the faster your upgrades come and things like that, but also the more it costs you. The cost cap's also in now, which is unbelievable. It's new this year. I don't know how that was never in before. So you do have to manage your finances with signing sponsors and stuff, title sponsors and minor sponsors. They've got a new decal editor now, so you can actually make the cars look a lot nicer, which is awesome. And when you sign the title, or when you sign sponsors, you obviously put the decals on the car, but you can also unlock some title sponsor liveries. These are custom liveries just for that one title sponsor. There's also a whole new contract system now with your drivers. So rather than just jumping straight in and just talking to the drivers, they've sort of been inspired by last year's secret meetings. So you now meet with the drivers beforehand. You can meet with them, I think, 3 times. And it's really similar to the secret meeting stuff. It's probably the same system under the skin. You choose now, though, to meet with these drivers and, talk with them and stuff. And you have to meet with them before you can possibly sign them. And again, just like the secret meeting stuff, if drivers find out you're meeting with other people, they might be annoyed at you, especially your current drivers. If they find out you're speaking to other people, they'll obviously be annoyed at you, which makes a lot of sense. You've also got a fan team rating, which is basically the sort of popularity of your team. But obviously, as that increases over time, your prestige will increase. Things like, Verstappen might require a fan rating of level 10 or something like that to sign for you. So you need to make sure you get that over time. So you can't instantly sign the top level drivers because you're a new team. No top level driver would sign for them. Big one almost missed is the little overhaul of the R&D system. So where before R&D was actually just R, it's now R and D. So basically, the research side of it is just the same as it was previously. It's pretty much identical, but you now have to actually build that part, and it obviously costs you money to build it. You could choose to only build one of the part as well, so you could only then choose to put that on one of the cars, and then later on you have to build a second part for the second car. So you could choose to prioritize one of the drivers over the other, which is quite a nice system. I don't think there's any kind of reliability system in the game. I've not seen it mentioned anywhere, so I don't think your parts wear like they would in F1 Manager or something like that. I don't think anything like that happens. I don't think if you damage a front wing, you have to build another front wing. I could be wrong on that, but it's not been shown anywhere, any kind of reliability system. So I don't think that's in the game. That'd probably be something that might come in the future. Also, the My Team icons are now, I guess, just icons. So you've got esports drivers, you've got F2, you've got F3, and you've, of course, got kind of official drivers, people like Schumacher and Senna and Button. You can switch these on and off individually now. So if you decide you only want to have Schumacher in your save, you can only enable Schumacher. You can also tell the game to allow those icons to only be signable by you or signable more by the AI teams. Also, you can also now change the number of driver moves between teams. So you can turn it up and down. You can have like a high level of driver moves, so drivers will move more freely between the AI teams, or have it low or probably even off. So you can completely disable that now. And you can also, small changes in driver career. You can now start driver career with one of the new teams this year, the F1 movie team or the Connor Sport team, the Breaking Point team. The words came out eventually. So you could choose to start driver career with one of those 2 guys, and you could also have now icons in driver career. So AI teams in driver career, not just in My Team, can now sign people like Schumacher. I think that's a fairly good broad conclusion there, guys. Obviously, we analysed a lot. There's a lot of little nitty-gritty details there. And honestly, to be fair, my impressions of this are that it's a very decent upgrade. We said the same, though, about driver career last season. It ended up being quite flawed. So EA are not known for their attention to detail. This does seem like a good upgrade that's got decent depth to it, and I like it, but we will have to see when we actually play it, when the game's released, where we can really dig deep into it, how it evolves. Things like the regulation change. We did see that mentioned in one of the screenshots, but they haven't mentioned how that's going to work at all. So, how will it keep it fresh season after season after season sort of thing? So there's a few bits there that are sort of still unknown. And obviously, again, Driver Career was good on launch, and then afterwards it seemed quite flawed. Also, for me, still crucial that the AI improves. For me personally, and for quite a lot of people, career mode's basically unplayable because the AI aren't fast enough. I can literally win a championship in one of the slowest cars in F1. So I hope AI is also improved to actually make career mode playable, because this genuinely sounds exciting. Honestly, I was never that excited about my team. Not really. When it first launched, yeah, kind of interesting and exciting, but I've basically been bored of it since 2021. So I'm excited now for this. It's genuinely got a good depth. It does seem like F1 Manager vibes a little bit. And I think it'll be good. I think it'll be really good. I think this is a really decent change and a big change year on year. And as I said, I do think they're going to start merging driver career with my team. It makes sense for me now. They're close enough now to kind of merge those into one thing and have a contract system. They haven't got this in this year's game. Have a contract system where you literally sign as a team owner or a driver or both. So you could maybe move to Ferrari, sign as a driver for the first year, and then second year negotiate to be the owner, which is, I guess, team principal would be a more accurate description, or the manager. And then you can then start to do this management stuff we're talking about for Ferrari. I would love to see that. Or you can obviously choose to start your own 11th team. That would be awesome. And I think we're pretty close to making that possible now. So hopefully in the near future that'll happen. But yeah, for F1 25, guys, I'm excited about this. Let me know what you think down in the comments as well. Let me know definitely if there's anything I missed. I don't think there is, but there's always some stuff. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see more when we can really get our teeth into this game at launch. So do drop a follow, guys, if you haven't already, or a sub. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.